Welcome to Silicon Valley Life. In each episode, you'll get an insider's look at what makes Silicon Valley special, how people pursue ideas, deal with failure, and enjoy life. You can find this show on all the major platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our website, concordiaventures.com. Now, here are the hosts of Silicon Valley Life, Naeem Zafar and Meena Meyyappan.
Hello, audience. This is Naeem Zafar talking to you from Silicon Valley. And today, actually, my co-host Meena is traveling. So I'm brought a very interesting guest for you to meet. And if you ever did contactless payments, you can blame this guy. His name is on 50 plus patents to enable payment system, contactless payment. So let's invite Mohammad Anwar Khan to our show. Well, hello, Anwar Khan. How are you?
How are you? Doing well?
Good. So, you're the one guy, I think we were in college together many moons ago, but then you escaped to Hawaii and spent 8 years there. What's the deal? Tell us a little bit more. Who is Anwar Khan?
Yeah, it's amazing how nature drives things, But I did end up go to Hawaii to do my master's in electrical engineering. That was at University of Hawaii at Manoa. And the reason I selected Hawaii, the reason, besides that it has a very good school because of being an island, it was the first one campus started on satellite communication. So whole data communication, the genesis of that thing, it came out from Hawaii, all the way from through the internet, the world that we saw a long time ago, and to the TCP/IP where it led to, and to all the data communication that happened. So there was a seed that was put in there. And the reason was because this is the campus where it attracted faculty members from Harvard, from MIT, from you name it. People, the professors, they would come in for 2 years and be stationed there, teach there. And so you get to leverage that. So it really turned out to be a very nice place to go to school and learn.
So which startup did you do, and why should our audience be excited about that?
So interestingly, that when I was finishing my master's, one of my friend introduced me to this guy, Bill Melton. So I went to him, and it was supposed to be an interview. There was a small office. It was just 2 rooms, and he was in one room where he could shout to his secretary in the other room. That's big was the office was. And so we talked in 5 minutes. He called people. They called me Khan, and so he said, Khan, when you finish your master's, just come over. And this was a startup I joined. There were only 3 people, and that startup was a fintech unicorn, one of the first one, named Verifone. So I stayed there for 15 years at Verifone, and was a great experience. First 5 years, I was in technical product development, responsible for
Verifone was the product which was like it go to Macy's or retail, you stick your card in, that one?
Exactly right. So it's this Verifone was the leader in those days, and we had almost 85% market share here in the US. Where that allowed you to swipe your card in those days to make a payment. Typically used to be credit card, and then after a few years, debit cards came in. I played quite a big role in there as well. And then that magnetic stripe card now has become into a chip card as well as a contactless card. And both of those technology have played a direct role into bringing those technologies into the payment world. Chip card technology I picked up from France as I was head of products for Verifone, taking Verifone to global presence. And we had to have a smart card technology to be able to effective in France. So picked up from there, and then Visa, MasterCard took that technology as well and made it as part of payment standards. And equally then when I left after 15 years, Verifone, as HP had acquired us, and 1 year after that, was looked into what's the next big things. So in there, to me, it felt right that if we could make every mobile device to be a payment device, so we could enable billions of people. There were already few billions and who were using these feature phones. And it also felt right, this is a year 2001, where that feature phone was going to turn into smartphone. So it took about another 6 years before Apple released an iPhone in 2006 timeframe or so. But we worked on those, we believed in that vision, and use that on top of that smartphone vision, use the technology of contactless, and that which I picked up from Shinjuku Station in Tokyo, where I saw so many people, broad spectrum people, tapping their card or the purses or wallet. I said, this is it. If such a broad spectrum people are using this technology, this is what the technology is going to be used on the go, and that's what has become mobile payment. Today, that's what Apple Pay is when you make a payment in physical stores, or Google Pay and all of that stuff. So today, by the way, there are more than 2 billion people are using that tap to pay, whether their card or their mobile device around the world.
Good to see this.
COVID as well, that really drove that usage, because you hold on to your card and device, but that's it's quite big.
So your name is on a few patents on that, no?
Yes, and so when you work on, so I drove a mobile payment, and you will not believe in the early days, whenever I used to talk, even in our payment industry, people, they called me crazy, literally, that you must be crazy. You're thinking about turning the mobile device to payment device, because they were relating to a card, right? And then they started thinking that, yeah, this is happening. So they started calling me Mr. Mobile and then Mr. NFC. So these are the three names I did receive over those first 5-6 years, until people, they start believing in it. But then when you go into a green new space, this is very important. When you go into green new space, you have so much opportunities to explore how technology can be used for various different use cases, various different applications that consumers or business could use. And that's what enabled me to, basically drive so many different patterns. One pattern I did not apply. I should have, though I clearly remember that one of my friend John Sheets at Visa, I was mentioning to him in 2002 timeframe. One day that mobile device is going to have a biometric. People would do biometric on their mobile device, because that's what they would feel comfortable. And I should have applied patent for it as well. But anyway, so that's yes, and there are more than almost 100 patents globally that have been, and many of those patents are owned by MasterCard now, which are being used globally at this point by all the major ecosystem players in the payment industry.
Well, that's good, because I was CEO of Verifone. We invented the silicon fingerprint sensor, so we had 28 patents on that. So that was interesting. We'd have run into each other. So let me actually quickly go to our main topic today, because our main topic is about generative AI. What is it, and why should people be excited? Now, in Silicon Valley, we hear about generative AI every single day, multiple times. But if it's living in Oklahoma or Mumbai, it may not be the everyday conversation, but it should be. Because I think people don't realize this is bigger than the internet. Today, every single industry is touched by internet. There's no such industry which is not. And in my opinion, this is a bigger tsunami, because the benefits are even greater and is pervasive. What's your view on this topic?
Absolutely. This is, I think, is huge in my view. Just put it in perspective that, we both went through, and when internet was brought into our space on this globe, and how we saw that the internet open up so many different possibilities, which were not possible. I mean, e-commerce alone, that you are able to make a purchase online with your mobile device and it shows up next day. Such simple things, which is so powerful, they were not possible without internet. And then after the internet, and we went through that, and obviously I was at Verifone, and we played a very important role in internet payments and everything also. Then mobile came in. And mobile was another big changer, because the internet was, if you would not believe, when year 2001, when internet burst happened in the market, at that time there were only 100 million users globally. There were 6 million users in China only at that time. Would you believe? So that's why there was internet burst, because the usage base was not huge. And then mobile came in. So when, of course, it started with the feature phone mobile devices, and that had started some time ago. But then when mobile, you could see that would become a intelligent device, a smart device. That means that mobile is going to be a computer in your hand all the time. And that mobile enables so many other possibilities today. I mean, not only, again, you can just click on your phone after a product you'd like on Amazon and be able to make a purchase, all the way to WhatsApp application, which has connected billions of people globally together in a smart way. And it's amazing how many hours my wife spends talking to her sisters around the world. And so mobile enabled another new set of possibilities, and that's where I had more than 50 patents and everything or so. This generative AI, I would mention one more thing. Along with the internet and mobile, cloud became possible, internet connectivity became possible, and all of those things, they were progression that happened. Now this generative AI is going to be huge, lot bigger than even the changes we saw at the mobile as internet level and the mobile level. Because it's a new space, that's why it's going to create a lot of opportunities as well. But let me mention that thing you just talked about. People, they talk about generative AI here in Silicon Valley. People, they talk about AI in Pakistan as well and around the world as well. But unfortunately, when they talk about AI, they think that you're putting a simple logic in your coding. That's what AI is, which is not the case. AI is really the main essence of AI, which we've been hearing for last 15, 20 years or so, where you have a huge amount of data set that exists. On top of you apply in a whatever AI engine, with that data set being very large is what makes the artificial intelligence output to be more reliable and more creative, everything also. Now, because it required a lot of data set, huge data set, that did not allow small or mid-sized players to really leverage from AI over the last many years. Yes, Google leveraged it, Amazon leveraged it, Facebook leveraged it, or Microsoft, all other ones, big ones, they did. But not the normal size companies, even in the top 500 companies, as well as many other smaller mid-sized companies. What has happened, two things, literally what happened over last, I would say 2 years, thanks to OpenAI. By the way, the technology they use is called Transformer, which was invented in Google, actually. I think was not leveraged hugely right away by Google, but however, OpenAI, they were able to create a data set. And I'm going to simplify that. I think they took millions of books, fed into this data set, fed into this database, and built a AI engine on top of it. And that's and they created a model called ChatGPT. And that's why, because of so many books of all different languages, of all different subjects, the ChatGPT is so able to answer you or rewrite your a composition that you have written, or letter or something like that, in a perfect way, because it has a huge amount of data underneath. And also it has a generative technology based on the transformer technology. So these two things, what has enabled AI, which was only to be available for a very big player, few of them, to turn into a generative AI, which is available to every human possible in the commercial way as well as a personal way as well.
So 2 points to be made. One is that really, like you said, the big deal was the user interface, because I can talk to ChatGPT like I'm talking to a human, and then you can figure out what my intention is and able to give reasonable answer. This opens up the floodgates. Just like browser in 1995 allowed anybody to click and access the internet. Internet was there from 1970s, but it was hard to use. So the UI made a big difference.
So UI made a difference in the similar context as the browser did, but that's not where the main. If you look at it, 90%, 95% of where the power of generative AI came in is through two facts. One is it's sitting now with this huge amount of data and made it available to everybody in form of generative AI application, ChatGPT application. Number one, through that UI. But the number two is that generative technology based on transformer. That's enable that UI interaction to be very viable at the text level, at the image level, at a coding level, or at the ideas level. So all those things became very relevant now for humans. Now, just let me complete one more thing is OpenAI had, obviously, they put a lot of books into it, every kind of books or so. Where Google, what they did, obviously in 2-3 different steps, finally they got it. It's called Gemini now. What they did, not only they put a lot of books into it recently, but they had all of the data of Google search, all of the data associated with Google Map and YouTube, you name it. In fact, Google knows a lot more about you and I than we could remember ourselves. Okay, so they have, because of this huge data set. So now Gemini has become very, very powerful. So chat, many times, mostly I used to use ChatGPT. Now 60-70% I use Gemini, and then I also use ChatGPT. So they are somewhat complementary, but they are a lot of overlap as well.
So I want to take this to the next level because I really want you to talk about how people can make money without having a huge team, without having to raise millions of dollars, which is the traditional way of Silicon Valley, that you have an idea, you find a white space, you go raise a few $1 million, you had a huge team, and eventually after 12, 24, 36 months, you start making money. That model is changed. But before you go there, I want to ask you in about 60 seconds, I just want to lay one more thought on with our audience. See, people are all excited about LLMs and what they can, large language model. This is like people getting excited about databases 20 years ago or 30, 40 years ago. Yeah, databases are important. Yeah, there are a lot of database providers, but it's going to consolidate to, half a dozen or less database. That's not the exciting part. There will be LLMs. On top of that, it will be RAG, retrieval augmented generation, which will allow you to contain your data to what belongs to you, to your, privacy laws and whatnot. But on top of that will be applications. How to use this. Just like today, we don't talk about database. Yeah, we use SQL, MySQL, Oracle, but what we can do with it was exciting. And we are just building the infrastructure. You're looking at 2 steps further, how people can make money tomorrow. So talk about that.
So I think you put it in the right context. This is exactly what you said, that you have a database and then you have an application. And in the middle between the two, there's a model that is put together to take that data and do whatever mumbo jumbo is into what's the relevant application is. So this Gen AI model or AI model plays a very important role. Think of it like an algorithm, set of algorithms that take the data and process it in a manner and use an AI engine and be able to turn that thing into relevant application, what you're looking for. So you're absolutely right. LLM is only one of the applications. Where it has become a lot larger, LLM is also extremely useful in many context point of view as well. I'll come to that thing. But it's also that it can help to create ideas, new ideas, not only in form of text or a graphic or voice or video, but in terms of operational ideas as well. You can because the data is there, you can define a model that could turn that, define a better way to come up with the products for your startup, for example, or could understand the requirements of the consumer or market a lot better, because your human capacity may not be able to process all that data, but now this AI engine, Gen AI engine, can process that thing also. So
let's look at some examples how people are using it to start companies. Yeah,
exactly right. So let me take an example, which is a big portion of LLM is used, as well as another example which beyond that LLM. My nephew is only 20 years old now, Arif Khan. He has basically, when he was 18, 19, as he was turning into 19, he decided to become entrepreneur. Though he was going first year into engineering school, engineering university. And so he went to San Francisco, knocked at the door at one of the incubation center, run by and said, you're so young, what you're doing here? But he said, no, I want to learn. He ended up recognizing that this generative AI is going to be a game changer. So what he told me, that he will go look at online in a public domain, different ideas that have been written, and then look at the different models that have been already developed. And then realize that he could use those models to turn those into whatever application that he is looking for. So he told me that every week he was doing a new application using that approach. So what he did, he would pick up a model that already existed. He would train that model with the contextual data, whatever relevant data for the application he's looking into, and turning into an application. Just like that, within a couple of days or 3 days time frame or so. Versus
Such
it
as,
takes 9-10 months to do that thing. Number one. Number two, when he was doing that thing, one of the application, he realized that, wow, this could be really big. And he went live with, and then he got 100,000 users, then 500,000 users. Now he has multi-millions users. And he went live with this service called MusicFy, MusicFy.lol. What that does, it allows you, if you're singing, if you don't have a good voice, it allows you to snap in somebody else's good voice from like Kishore Kumar or Meyyappan or Frank Sinatra. You pick it, right? And so now you have this song that is coming out from a much better voice than your voice, but you're singing it.
so I'm singing. Is my video and song could be, Jay-Z?
No. So, it's your video, it's your song, it's your style, but your voice is Frank Sinatra, or your voice is Meyyappan, or your voice is Kishore Kumar or Lata Mangeshkar. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So when he was doing that thing, so that was as an amateur type of application that really attracted a lot of people. So they came in and they started using it. Then he received a letter from 3 different media companies, including Sony, saying that you're basically in conflict with the copyrights. So what he did was he took 2 voices and fusioned them together to have a third voice. If you have 2 good voices, third is going to come out good as well, right? So anyway, so that's really amazing. But however, now he has this service, millions of people are using. So consumer, they use for free of charge. They use that service. But however, people like who make videos, who make games, who used to hire people to have these voices and used to pay them, now they use his tools, service.
Synthetic voice.
And yes, exactly right. So they don't need to hire humans. They just use his services, so they're paying him. So he, as a personal, basically, that company owns 90% of it. 10% he sold to that incubation center director, and so he's making huge money in every month. But then, about 3 months ago, he recognized one more application of similar nature, where you give text, you give some context, and it turned that thing into a video, complete video, with the proper voice and everything also. So that also has taken off more on the commercial side of things also. And so he's telling me that he's making, so he is hoping to make $6 million by end of this year, or
And
within.
It's a one-person company?
No, he has now hired a couple of engineers. He was looking for a product manager and those type of things also. But the point I want to make is, he was able to develop a very unique application which had a huge value for consumers just in few days. He took that thing alive and used $0 for marketing. He used social media to get millions of users. So that's one application that's put it on site. Let's take another application. I'm just going to quickly mention that thing. Here's this guy in Islamabad, works for Talimabad, the company. So he was a graphic designer. He got attracted to generative AI, no engineering degree. And then he developed an application that allows teachers to use this service to grade their students' papers. How much time they spend, you're a professor, how much time you spend on grading. And so now all of that grading is done automatically. In fact, not only grade is provided, it also tells what weaknesses, what strength this student has. And that has been rolled down into 400 public schools and 30 private schools in Pakistan. And all
it's
from
October,
where he got exposed to the generative AI last year, where in January he was presenting at one of the conference and Future Fest, where I was there. I heard him. I grabbed him right after that thing and said, I want to understand how you did it. And now he is done. So in fact, I've been in touch with him, and how, to learning from these, my nephew and this guy, that there's huge opportunity in the generative environment. One is generative AI in every aspects of industries. It can solve the problems. It can make the operational things a lot more efficient. It can create new things which your human mind may not have even thought about it. That's all possible.
So hopefully Daniel Sandsiper and Amy Jin from Berkeley are listening to this. Maybe you have to re-architect my class, entrepreneurship class at Berkeley, to bring in these concepts, because it changes the landscape.
Absolutely. Let me share a couple of other examples.
Yes.
You know, Hassan Syed, who's chairman of Aspire, who's a founder of Aspire Pakistan. He has done chatbot based on generative AI that allows the startups to put their ideas in, and that chatbot would tell whether this idea is a really good idea, it has a huge opportunity or not. This is one of the core problems for the teams. They don't know because of the lack of understanding of a total environment, bigger picture, and everything. Here is a chatbot. It's going to tell you that whether your idea is good enough to go work on it.
Well, you and I have to test it. This sounds really exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know we just want to cover a couple other topics before we want to double check. I know you're involved with several things. You said you're founder of Pak Angel. What is that, Pak Angel? And why not teach this generative AI to unsuspecting audience in all the countries in the world?
Yes. So again, Pak Angels, the reason I started is I took a forced retirement. My kids, they say, why you're not working? I'm saying, no, I'm working for Pakistan to give back to Pakistan, because Pakistan has a huge population. But, below 29, age of 29, there are 65% of young people. So that's our assets. If we can train them skills, good skills that would be in demand, that would turn that into them a lot more productive. So when we talk about two different skills, one I believe is entrepreneurship. That too, because it drives you to think, drives your energy, it drives you to come up with the new products that allows you to serve not only Pakistan but globally as well. So that's what the Pak Angels main purpose has been, is how we can facilitate these early stage startups who have great ideas, who have worked on it, they have bootstrap, but they don't get angel funding because there's no culture of angel funding in Pakistan. Literally, there's no culture that exists. And so how we can help them? So trying to build a network of angel investors from local Pakistan, domestic Pakistanis, overseas Pakistanis, and foreigners, so that we can help them. We also guide them in some business practices. I call it best practices from Silicon Valley, so that they are also get trained to succeed a lot better. They can understand unit economics and some fundamental thing they may not know, but they got to understand that. They need to understand.
That makes a lot of sense.
So that's one aspect of Pak Angels. Other aspect of it, which I realized that this generative AI is coming so big, we got to train hundreds of thousands of our youth people, whether they are students, whether they're faculty members, whether they are professional engineers or freelancers, so they can leverage this technology to get a lot more competitive and create value, not only for application in Pakistan, but also globally as well. Because we can make them a lot more productive on foreign exchange as well. I think that will, bottom up, will help the country to come out of that.
I mean, it's not just Pakistan, it's all countries.
No. This is the model I'm sharing about Pakistan, but this is every aspect of all the countries. The US.
Yeah, you could be sitting in Kenya.
Absolutely.
And take advantage of this. And that's what internet allowed us to have co-founders and employees from any part of the world.
You could be in a small village of any country around the world. Doesn't matter where. Yeah. With the internet access, two things has happened. It has allowed you to understand the market a lot better, because generative AI, it allows you to, because of software tools, to develop application a lot faster, especially generative AI models that already exist, to train them and be ready with the application within few days time frame or so. That's the power of it.
Why don't we start some educational thing online when you can teach people about how they can take advantage of
this is the reason we are offering Pak Angels, working with iCode Guru and Aspire Pakistan, is essential generative AI training, and that's starting this Saturday at 7 p.m. Pakistan time, 7 a.m. Pacific time. Good news is more than 2,500 people they have signed up. That includes faculty members. Almost 250 faculty members have signed up, which is all the
How do
universities.
people sign up? How do people sign up? Is there a link here, or how does it work?
So yes, there was a link made available through the networks. But now there's a cutoff because it's really starting on Saturday. But we will provide that updates on how the next one session would come in. So pakangels.com is our website that allows.
Angels.com. Okay.
Yeah, that is correct.
Good, good. Let me switch gears briefly in the last few minutes about Silicon Valley life, because the podcast is about not just technology and innovation and trends, but also about what is it like to live in Silicon Valley and things to do, places to go, things you can share with the audience.
First, I would start that I tell my kids who don't value that much, but I said this is the nucleus of the world. Though it's now spreading around the world, there's no doubt, but still is a nucleus of the world where the technology prosper and becomes global, products and services. Besides that one, when in the family life point of view, and obviously I love good food. I would love to have desi food or Pakistani or Indian food, spicy food, which is really tastes well. Not many places to find here in the.
Really? Hundreds of places in Silicon Valley.
There are good places like Bindu Khan, which has opened up. Shalimar restaurant used to be very good, but I don't know why they lost edge. You have to stay on the forefront of the edge. But however, and I think we could need a lot more places here open up. And now you may have started seeing that some of the trucks have started to offer, food services and. Especially for the Indian community and Pakistani community, that's really a good start. But I would like to see, like in Mississauga, in Toronto, and in Canada, there are more than 150 restaurants at one single place.
Really?
Literally more than 150 restaurants in Mississauga. This marketplace was opened up, and it's just such a great, successful marketplace.
Which state is
base exists?
Which state is Mississauga in?
That's in Toronto. It's right, where the Toronto airport is. Right next to it is Mississauga.
Okay.
So I think one day somebody would recognize a huge opportunity we have, because consumer base is huge and they have a buying power. There's a lot of more buying power here of our consumer base here in the Bay Area.
Yeah. See, to me, the dinner food, ignites all of your senses, or can. So I'm also, as I've been talking here, a fan of these highly rated restaurants with a unique dining experience. So this last weekend, I was in Healdsburg in Sonoma County, and I had the opportunity to dine at Michelin 3-star restaurant called Single Thread.
Nice.
So the dinner lasted from 7 o'clock to 11 p.m.
Wow.
8 courses, and just a complete sensational experience of all foods. You can't imagine the kind of taste, small portions.
What type of food? Is that 8 courses mean like a Chinese food?
No, so this is highly Japanese influenced.
Japanese.
But I had the vegetarian option, so it was. But that's the thing. They have their own farm. When we actually visited the farm, when everything is grown organically and without any chemicals, so all the edible things comes from that, vegetables the whole experience is very holistic and just beautiful.
Very nice.
I highly recommend that people consider.
I'm going to give it a try. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, check out it. It was worth it. So, and before we go, any tips on Hawaii? Because you're the only guy I know who actually lived in Hawaii. We just visited Hawaii. What to do, what not to do, where to go? What do you advise?
Hawaii is a great place, and one is it's just amazing. I remember you work very hard, especially when you are young and you're working for a startup like a Verifone, and worked 18 hours a day and everything. But when we came out from our workplace and the evening of Hawaii hits you, you become freshed up completely, and it's just amazing. So it's a great experience to live in Hawaii. Some people they can't live beyond 2-3 years because they feel constrained of the geography and a constrained point of view or so. But the people, they are very nice. And they're lean back in terms of when they enjoy the nature, and you can go to the beaches, you can go to like Hanama Bay and do the snorkeling, such a clear water, beautiful coral, those type of things. And then you can drive around the island and see different color in the ocean around you, as well as people and the living different styles and they live in. You have the local people, and it's a mixture of Hawaii is also in different communities. They live there, who came from Philippines, who came from Japan, who came from China, who are Caucasians, and Haoles, and came from the mainland. All of that stuff. So it's a wonderful place, and that I enjoyed the time. 8 years I had there.
Well, great. I think that really is a wonderful place. I just booked a safari in South Africa for Thanksgiving week, so this is my 5th safari. So that's something experience. If you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. We can talk more about that.
Absolutely, we'll take that.
Yeah. Well, great. Any last thoughts before we conclude?
No,
Any
I think
advice?
my main message is really seek out to understand what generative AI is. Try to understand what these generative AI models that already exist you can leverage for various different applications, personal level or commercial level. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for people to introduce new applications, apply for patents, new ideas, and it's going to be around for next few years. But it is a huge game changer in every aspect of life, your personal life and professional life. So why not to participate into that thing and make money out of it?
Yeah, I think you said very correctly, because people always say you have to be at the right place at the right time.
Really?
This is the right place. This is the right time. You are here. Wake up.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And
what we
even
must
for
do.
people who are not in the Bay Area, doesn't matter they are in Kenya or in Pakistan, this is the right time for them to leverage generative AI and serve the world. I'm not saying to serve your local application, serve the world.
Yeah. So great. Kashi also joined us. Kashi, good to have you, and Amy, of course. So guys, thanks for and Anwar, thanks for being with us and participating. Good thoughts, very thought-provoking. Thank you, and audience. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right.
Bye.
Enjoy talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've been tuning into Silicon Valley Life with your hosts, Naeem Zafar and Meena Meyyappan. You can find this show on all the major platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our website, concordiaventures.com. Thank you for your positive feedback, comments, questions, and for sharing this show with others.